Okay, hi demons. So, I don't even know why I'm doing a review for this because I bailed out on it and I don't think I played it as it's intended to be played. I think this was never intended to be a multiplayer game. They added a couple of lines of rules here and there trying to make it into one. With the, well, people probably don't all want, an only solo game. We can sell it better if it's got a multiplayer rules, whatever. It barely works as a multiplayer game. And the reason for that, maybe I'm missing something really clever here, but the main reason for that is the treasure chart. When you do a discovery of a treasure, you find a treasure in a random place on the map, and then anyone can go get it. Perhaps the multiplayer game comes down to trying to use your magic to try to get the other players killed, but you can't really do that. You can only take them down. Once they've got 2 wounds, you can no longer hit them anymore, so you can't kill them through torture. You could use some of your magic to hit them. You could use some of the... There's some spells that you could use, some demons that you could use to make the mortal units kind of get closer to them and attack them. You could strip away some of their demons. So I guess I could see ways that it could be played multiplayer. I just was totally not latching on to any enjoyment out of this. And I think, I'm just getting out of the taste for gaming completely because of Druid and now this. And I'm going to try to put the final nail in the coffin with the next thing, I think. Just trying to make myself as miserable as I possibly can. And maybe it's that thing on the horizon that's doing it. Anyway, the components don't really support multiplayer play. Basically, this little chart here, which works fine when you're playing solo, well, you've got to create either a paper list or put little baubles on it to indicate who owns what, and that was just irritating me. And this multiplayer is obnoxious. You kind of want each player to have their own little piece, but on the other hand, you kind of have to look at what each player has if you really wanted to play this seriously multiplayer. So overall, it just doesn't quite work multiplayer. Worse than that, it might be an okay solo game. There are lots of solo games where you're kind of faced with a situation like this where you've got randomly moving enemies and you've got capabilities that you can use to try to avoid them or to attack them as you try to hunt treasure. And it actually, fits in with that. That's not my type of game. I don't enjoy that unless it has a lot of story to it. Like, I'm hoping Barbarian Prince will be good. Tales from the Arabian Nights, but I'd rather play that multiplayer. Ambush, things like that. But Ambush is great because it's so unexpected. It's because the scenarios are pre-programmed and written to work, both logically and in a way that provides you with a challenge that you're not expecting. The problem with this, though, for a solo game, if you really like those kind of solo games, and I don't, but the problem with this is you really kind of have to make up a bunch of the rules. You have the core of the game here, but not everything's nailed down. So, for example, whether or not you can, whether or not that causing a unit to flee makes it drop you when you're captured and stuff like that. And if I really liked the game or liked it at all or tolerated it or wasn't completely miserable by it, or if it didn't make me want to pull my fingernails out, I probably would make up those rules and enjoy it and keep playing. As it is, in the mood I'm in, I just ain't got time for it. My feeling is, hey, if you really like solo games, this is worth $1 if you see it in a flea market. It might be worth $5, But you'll get a couple of playings out of it. And then what? I don't know. I see some people who play it a number of times, so it must be enjoyable to that type of person. But there are plenty of solo games out there that give more story. Things like B-17. What is it? Got it up here somewhere, and I'm looking for it. Can't remember the name. That's why I have to look sometimes. Sometimes I know what I'm looking for. Something Galactic Empire. Recent Decision games. And, I don't remember where it is in my piles. That are really interesting in terms of their operation. Things like Mosby's Raiders can also be kind of cool, although they're more like this, just, you know, based on history and a little more interesting. But yeah, this just didn't. It doesn't grab me in any sort of way that makes me think, well, someone would really love this. But there are always people who like a game. I couldn't show you anything worthwhile in the gameplay because I tried to play a multiplayer, and it, in my opinion, it just doesn't work that way. I think maybe the right group of people who are really good at breaking a game might be able to find a game out of this. And by breaking a game, I mean rules lawyers type people. But they would have to solidify what the rules mean, you know, how you escape from captivity and stuff like that, the same way you would solo. Anyway, there it is. Up.